Want to learn how to sing the Ballad of Jane Doe from Ride the Cyclone? I'm here to help! Hi, my name is Janelle Katharina, and I am currently playing Jane Doe in Las Vegas at Majestic Repertory Theater. Today, we are going to be covering some fundamentals, specifically the vibrato. So, what is vibrato and why is it used? Vibrato is the oscillation, or the switching, I guess, of two notes right next to each other, and it is used stylistically at the end of each phrase, or if you're talking legit classical, throughout all the phrases. And its primary function is to make the sound more interesting, more spinny, as people like to describe it. It's also used to help distribute the air that's coming out of your mouth. So if you ever noticed, singing without vibrato actually makes you run out of air faster than with vibrato. So, how do we practice vibrato if we don't know how to do vibrato? Well, when I was 13, I wanted to sing, and I had no vibrato, and told my mom, "Hi Mom," because she's a singer too, "how do I get vibrato?" And she told me to find a note on the piano, and find the note directly under it, and do this, and gradually get faster until you find a steady pace. And she told me to do that for 15 minutes every single night, and I did, because I really wanted to learn how to sing Defying Gravity. Like this. When you find a steady pace, you should also be able to hold it out. But here's the kicker. The only way that you are going to figure that out is if you record yourself and listen back to it. I know, it sucks. It's an awful experience. It's really weird to listen to yourself, but you sound really different from an outside perspective than you do in your brain. You will never know what you will sound like outside of your brain unless you record yourself, so you're gonna have to get used to it now. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Also, watch out that you don't emphasize both notes equally, because it'll sound something like this. That sounds very aggressive, right? We don't want that. So what you want to do is you want to back off from the second note, the not main note, right? Because we chose and then the is the note that's not as important. So sound like this. You hear that the main note is the main note that rings out. That is the goal. Another thing to look out for is the speed of your vibrato. Now, from what I remember in my vocal pedagogy books that I read in college, the ideal oscillation rate is like 6 to 8 oscillations per second. If that means anything to you, if that helps, great. If it doesn't, then let's gauge it this way. If your vibrato is too fast, then you're going to sound like Snow White or Amanda Seyfried. Heart full of love. Now, if your vibrato is too slow, you're going to have what we call a warble, and we don't want that. You are going to sound like Hugh Jackman singing Bring Him Home. Sorry, I love to bag on the Les Mis movie. I just love that movie. It's so dank, for lack of a better term. You don't want to sound like this. Bring him home. And you won't be able to gauge that unless you listen to yourself. So make sure you're always recording yourself when you practice. So when you find all of that, when you find a steady pace, when it's even, when you're emphasizing right, the next step is to be able to move with, because unfortunately you don't only sing one note, especially in the Ballad of Jane Doe. So in order to practice moving your vibrato, you want to pick your note, and you want to go, but you want to slide up and down. Really make sure that you slide up and down. That practices phrase or legato or smoothness, which is also very essential to classical style singing. It should sound something like this. And once you practice all that and nail it, you're one step closer into singing the Ballad of Jane Doe really good. Of course, every voice is different, but this is what personally worked for me. Anyway, hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. I would be happy to explain anything that I went over in this video. If you have any other additional questions, let me know. I'm here to help. And if you want more tips, make sure to follow me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.